back. At least I think I am. Can you hear me? I hope you guys can hear me. There's no way she did that. All right. Over the weekend, I saw the new movie in the epic Keanu Reeves franchise, the action flick, and my dog's just here playing with a squeaky toy. So, well, of course it had to happen. First episode back in a while. Let's deal with all this stuff. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright. I can't hear anything. Do you guys can you guys hear me? Like, is it the headphones? What is it? What is it? Oh. Chuck, thank you for joining me. Let me know. Can you hear me? What? Well, I'm gonna assume that you guys can hear me, and then I'll just deal with it afterwards. I think is this it? Yep, I found the issue. So, I think everything's fine. Stop it. Like I said, my dog's here. It's been a while. Haven't been around. If you guys have followed my Instagram, you might have noticed that, hey, you know, I'd kind of been all over the place. I was in Japan for about a month. Then I went to Monterey. I need to just get this from her. Stop it. There you go. Actually, do you guys want to meet her? I'll just show her. Yeah, very quickly. She's right here. This is Midna. She's about, what are you, 5, 6 months old. She's great. I love her. She's with me all day because I'm working from home now. But stop it with the squeaky toy. Yeah, I should have just closed the door. This is very unprofessional. But again, hadn't done this in a while. So I knew there was going to be hurdles. I knew there was going to be problems. Audio stuff. Always happens audio stuff. Have you noticed that? But for those of you who are here for the movie review, let me just get this out of the way really quickly. The movie's awesome. It's epic. It's a lot of fun. It's action-packed. So spoiler-free really quickly. It's awesome. I loved it. I loved every second of it. The movie's long. It's very long, but you don't feel it. It's action-packed. They managed to take it on to a different level. One thing that I particularly enjoyed is how there's very different. You're following different characters during their fight sequences, so it keeps it exciting. It's not always John Wick. The other movies, you're always kind of following John Wick. Here, other characters get time to shine, so it's a nice little breather. It's a different sort of experience, so I really enjoyed it. They upped their game. If I'm thinking about it, like, how would I rank them? Like, the first one's my favorite, because it's got the story with the dog. It's got all that crazy stuff. It's the one that's got the most heart. The second one I just love as a professional in this industry. I love the mirror scene, the fight sequence in the mirror room. I just love it. As a professional, I think that's, you know, like a work of art. The third one, honestly, it's kind of forgettable compared to the other ones. It's still pretty good. But the fourth one is probably the best action movie I've seen in a very long time overall. So as an action movie, I think it's the best one. It's probably the most ridiculous, but not within the context of the fight. It's really weird. Like, some things that happen in the movie are completely ridiculous, and John Wick is a fucking tank. But within the context of the fights, I think it's epic, and it's probably the best one in that sense. Again, the first one has more heart, and it will always be my favorite probably, but I really love this one, except when we get to particular things. But again, that's going to be in the spoiler section. So again, really quickly, spoiler free for everybody. The movie's awesome. It's action packed. It's everything you want and more. Stop biting me. It's everything you want from the franchise and more. So I highly recommend it. If you got nothing to do this weekend, I recommend you. I know it's already been out for a few weeks now. So go watch it. This weekend, I'm going to go watch Super Mario. And then, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Mess Man, thank you for joining me. So again, I'm going to watch Super Mario this weekend. And then on Saturday, I'm going to watch Suzume, which comes out in the States. For those of you who don't know, Suzume is an anime film that's created by one of the biggest and most legendary director from Japan. In anime is Hideo Miyazaki, but now another guy's kind of taking his place. Now I forget his name always, but he's made movies like probably the most popular one was Your Name, which I love. I've loved that movie. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. Some of his other stuff I'm not as big of a fan of, but like 5 centimeters per second, not a big fan of it, but it is very beautiful. Anyway, his newest movie, which broke all kinds of records in Japan, comes out this weekend. So I'm going to go Friday, watch Super Mario. Saturday, I'm going to watch Suzume. So I'll give you reviews for both of those. My kid brother, Eric, will probably join me for the Super Mario one. We're going to, here's the plan. I know the Suzume one, my bad. It's probably going to be an Otaku Tuesday. So what the plan is, as of this second, we're going to get out of the movie theater and we're going to record it, our quick podcast in the car. So immediate thoughts as we walk out of the movie theater. Stop playing with that. Stop. Why'd you have to bring the squeaky toy? She's got 100 toys. Well, not 100 toys. She's got a bunch of toys. She loves the pull rope, but she had to bring the one thing that's squeaky. Damn it. It's like she knew. It's like you're doing it on purpose on you. Aren't you, you little bitch? Damn it. I'm going to show her on screen again, just, because she's so adorable. Here you go. There you go. So, I'm going to keep her away from the toy by having her with me. There you go. You see, it's really hard to see her because she's black. And it's kind of dark in here, but there you go. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Minda, ¿qué piensas? ¿Qué está pasando? ¿Qué crees? Dinos tu opinión. ¿Qué piensas de la película? I like John Wick. He likes dogs. He's my homie. Watch the movie. I highly recommend it. There you go. I don't know why she's Southern. So, actually, she's Mexican. So I should have done a Latina accent. That's God damn it. Wait, well, she's also she's an Akita, so maybe a Japanese one. I don't know. I'll think of her character later. The point is, good film. Recommend it. So that's spoiler free. Again, spoiler free. Now we could get a little bit into spoiler. You know what? I don't think I can do spoilers, to be honest. Well, I could. Well, let's get into a little bit more technical stuff, and I'll try to avoid the big spoilers. The point is, I wasn't a big fan of the ending, because I feel like I understand why they did it. It was artful. It was very beautiful. It was clever up to a point, and she just stole my shirt. She just stole my shirt. Damn it. Minna, ven acá. Deja eso. Minna. Yeah, I switched shirts for this. Anyway, next time I'll just lock the door. But then if I lock the door, she's gonna be knocking down the door. Damn it! It's just, Midna, deja eso. Ven acá, vente, ven. Whatever. This is going great. You guys missed this? I missed this. Anyway, what was I even talking about? Oh yeah, the movie. So, it's highly enjoyable. Highly recommended. So I didn't love the ending because everything else was so great. It was so top tier action wise. It was phenomenal. The nunchuck scene is out of this world. I loved it. And I've seen videos of Keanu Reeves training with the nunchucks. So the dude actually did the scenes. He did the stunts. So he actually had to learn to fight with nunchucks. It's phenomenal. Like I said, this franchise is top tier action. It might be the best action franchise of all time. Like I might be speaking right out of my butt here, but think about it. So let's say, what are the best action franchises of all time? You got to throw the Die Hards in there. Well, the last Die Hard kind of sucked. The second Die Hard, forgettable. So you got a few really good ones. You got some good ones. You got some really bad ones, or some forgettable ones. Yeah, dogs are dogs. Yep, they just chaos. Deja de morder eso, cabrona. Déjala. Deja. No. The problem is that it smells like me. Damn it. Anyway. What else we got? Mission Impossible ones. Now those have been consistently good and getting better, so it's definitely in the conversation. If you want to get into sci-fi stuff, you're gonna throw the Terminators in there, or just want to keep it pure action. You go old school. You go the Dirty Harry movies. So I don't know. The point is, overall, it's a phenomenal franchise from beginning to end. Like I said, the only one where you maybe be like kind of would be number 3. And that's just because it doesn't have anything that particularly stands out. Maybe the fight with the dogs, but still not enough for me compared to the ones. Like I said, first one, I know the full story, the whole thing with the dog, with freaking Theon Greyjoy in there, who I hate. The second one, the mirror scene, which was phenomenal, and this last one because it's just nonstop. And again, it's got a variety, intrusive cast. This is a really well thought out world. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous world, but it kind of makes sense within its own little universe, and it's fun. It's got a bunch of characters in there who are interesting. And normally, let me see, Chuck Dominguez here. Normally sequels suck, but John Wick movies just keep getting better. Yes, because they keep upping the ante. They keep thinking like, how can we make this better, but not be ridiculous in terms of the fights? Because let's say Fast and the Furious. I love the first Fast and the Furious movie. It's basically Point Break, but with cars. But I love it. It's a beautiful film. It's very clever. It's very fun. It's well made. It's got a lot of heart. And then from then on, the movies to up the ante, they keep getting more and more ridiculous. I mean, they end up with a car in space. Which, you ever think the Two Brothers from the Hood? I haven't seen them. Like, I stopped at a certain point. Was like, this is just too stupid, even for me. And so they keep upping the ante in a really dumb way. With John Wick, the fights are not ridiculous. It's still Keanu Reeves in there throwing haymakers. And probably the most ridiculous thing in this movie, again, John Wick falling off a roof, ridiculous. So story-wise, it is ridiculous in terms of story, not in terms of the action fights. Probably the most ridiculous fight in this movie is again It's against Scott Adkins, I think. He's the fat German guy, but it's an actual action star in a fat suit. So you're like, there's no way a fat dude could move that way. So that, I think that's probably the silliest part of it. But if you had taken the fat suit out of it, which was just used, for comedy, and if you would have had Scott Adkins in the exact same position, you would have believed it. So again, it was used for comedy, and I tend to be very forgiving with comedies. So again, phenomenal franchise, beginning to end. If this is how the franchise ends, because they left it open to whatever possibility. So it depends on Keanu, it depends on the director, it depends on if they can even think like, hey, can we kind of like do anything better here? Like, we got a reputation to maintain. Like, can we do it? Is there anything that we could do that would, surpass this? Which is a very difficult thing to do. Then we might see, a return for John Wick. If not, it was a fair goodbye. It was pretty decent. It's a very decent story arc, and it's funny because the character kind of had nowhere to go. And in a way, this movie's kind of about that, and the villain kind of knows it. Where does John Wick go from here? Like, what is he fighting for at this point? Kind of at the end of the third movie, they kind of like, the objective was vengeance, but is vengeance really enough, and against who? It was weird. So they were going in one direction, then they pivoted really quickly. That's the part that did feel off about this movie. The third one ends, okay, we're going up against the high table. We're gonna bring him down. And well, John Wick doesn't talk that much. He's mostly like, yeah, fuck, okay, fine. Like, I've talked more in these 10 minutes than John Wick does in the entire movie. Like, I think he has 11 lines, and he says something like 100, like, yeah, why are you doing this? And it's great. You don't need to talk. You don't need to talk in an action movie, like, at all. But let's see. Scott Adkins gave me a Batman Penguin vibes. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it felt kind of like Colin Farrell in the Batman. I can see it. But yeah, it was a phenomenal performance, by the way. It took me a minute to be like, I know this guy. Is this guy really that fat? I know. And when he started fighting, it's like, oh. And then I saw the credits, like Scott Adkins, like, oh, I know that guy. But yeah, like I said, it was a really great performance all around. I think everybody had phenomenal performances. Everybody, from Mr. Krabs, because for those of you who don't know, the dude who's kind of like the judge there, he's the voice of Mr. Krabs. So he's also the guy who captures the brain in Starship Troopers. What's it called? He's not the sergeant. He's the dude who trains them and then who ends up catching the brain bug. That's him. the villain, Pennywise, he's at first I wasn't sure about the French accent, but it's because you know who he is. I actually met that guy in person. He came in studio. I don't remember what movie he was promoting, but this was before he was cast as It. And so I did meet him in person. The Skarsgård brother, I forget about his name. But he's a nice dude. And I've heard him speak in person. His normal voice. It's nothing like that. So see him do that, it's like, oh, I'm not sure about this. But as the movie goes on, you're like, okay, all right, you know what? I'll buy it. I'll buy it enough. So good performance there. Good villain. The side characters, again, great fleshed out world. The Japanese companions, the Chinese guy, he was awesome. So overall, the movie was great. In fact, if this franchise were to go anywhere, I would love to see a prequel movie between the dude from The Last Samurai, John Wick, and the Chinese guy. Like their story of how they were friends and they used to be homies. That would be a phenomenal movie. In fact, I'll do one better. Do a video game. Like a John Wick video game would be awesome. Can you imagine that? First person shooter with, you can throw some haymakers too. That'd be great. Like that'd be top tier video game. So at least now that's my humble opinion. Or maybe like, I don't know, like a Grand Theft Auto style game, but it's, John Wick. So, or you're in the world of John Wick. That'd be great. Again, my humble opinion. And, nobody listens to me, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah. So overall, great movie. Highly recommend it. If you have nothing to do this weekend, or even if you have some stuff to do, cancel it and go watch the movie. If not, whatever. Like I said, next week I'll probably do the Super Mario stuff. I don't know what day. We're planning on, again, with my kid brother, as soon as we leave the movie theater, we're going to do a Suzume thing. So we're excited. I'm really excited about that movie because when I was in Japan, the hotel that I was staying at, had free breakfast because, if free tip for anybody. If you're wherever you stay, whenever you're on vacation, try to get a place that has, breakfast included. That way you save a ton of money and you always have a place for you're always going to have food in the morning. So I highly recommend that. Anyway, so the little restaurant always had the same song every single time. So the first time I'm there, there's this beautiful little piano song. Like, like, oh, that's a nice song. And I get there the next day and it's like, oh, that's not song again. And so I actually started paying attention, and it was the same song over and over on loop, on fucking loop. And so I use Shazam. I identify the songs like, oh, Suzume, like, oh, Suzume's coming out, and that's so I got excited because I realized, oh, when I get back, it's gonna be there, and I got the stupid song stuck in my head for a very long time, and it's a beautiful song. So check it out. It's the main theme. It goes like, so I don't know about you guys, but usually a good soundtrack is usually a good sign of a good movie. And again, this director's pretty good. He at least his movies are very interesting to look at. They're very beautiful. But yeah. Also, I got the new studio. It's not finished yet. I still got some stuff to do, but it's kind of there. At least it's my space. I theoretically shouldn't be interrupted unless, my dog decides, you know what? I need attention. And the way I'm going to get attention is just, bringing this chew toy, like this squeaky toy. But yeah, so hopefully things will start rolling once again. At least that's the plan. I still have a bunch of stuff to do. For those of you who don't know, I moved into a fixer-upper, and fixer-upping stuff takes a literally long time. It's really annoying, and it's exhausting, but it's fun. At the end, it's more satisfying to do stuff with your own hands. Like, you see the painting that's behind me, that one. It took me a really long time. I couldn't find like a place to buy, the wooden part that's inside of it, because I got the what do you call it? What do you call like the fabric part of a painting? I don't know. They just send me like the fabric stuff with the painting printed on it, and so I had to figure out, well, how the hell do I hang this? So I needed to build the wood stuff. It took me a really long time to figure out how to do it, because like, where the hell do they sell this stuff? Turns out you kind of have to do it yourself because the dimensions are kind of weird. So that takes time. But again, now I got the satisfaction of like, I did that. I did it. it was really difficult. It's not perfect, but I did it. So there you go. Eric, I want to talk about Japan stuff, and maybe, you know, my trip. It was a quick trip to Monterey, but it was for a bachelor party, so I may not get too deep into that one. It was fun though. But for Japan, I'm probably gonna have my kid brother join me, because, you know, it's always a lot more fun when, you know, you got somebody else joining you, and we're gonna share some of our adventures, and he remembers stuff that in a different way that I do. So hopefully that'll be exciting. What else? What am I missing here? What's else in the docket? Oh yeah, now that I have my own space to work on, that nobody's gonna interrupt me, I'm gonna restart the book summary podcast, which again, kind of important. I really like that one. I really enjoyed doing it. I just didn't really have the time, and it required having a space where nobody annoyed me. Now I have it, so it's good. You know, interestingly enough, having your own office workspace does a hell of a lot for your mind. Like, it's, if you get up out of bed and your office or your workspace is like right next to your bed, it's really difficult. Now it's like I have a space and it's for work, and so you kind of get into that mindset. Like, I don't take naps in the middle of work anymore and don't tell anybody, because it's like, oh no, this is I'm at during work time. Now, do I still slack around and do other stupid stuff? Never. I would never do that. I'm a professional. But, you know, if I did, I don't waste as much time anymore, because I immediately get back into it. Maybe, I don't know, I have a little bit more energy. I don't know. I have been exhausted lately, but I don't know. Chuck Dominguez, can't wait for the show, The Continental. Yes. And no. Why? Because I've been very disappointed lately by a lot of stuff. You know what? That's probably one of the reasons why I really enjoyed this movie, because it was just good. It was fun. It was enjoyable. They didn't just grab a franchise and, again, use that as a skin suit. For those of you who've asked me, I still have not watched more than the first episode of The Last of Us. Why? Because I didn't particularly like the first one, in the sense that I played the video game. I already know the story. And the show was worse than well, it was the same thing but worse. And also, I know where this story goes. So think about all the, I've heard all the complaints about all the gay stuff and blah blah. If you did not like all the dumb shit that they did on season 1, it only gets worse with chapter 2. And I mean a lot worse, because the first game actually doesn't really have all that bunch of dumb stuff, but the second one does, and they go balls to the wall. So I'm pretty sure it's only gonna get worse. So I didn't like the first one, and here's my biggest issue with it. You're HBO. You got a survival horror franchise with zombies, and there's no gory action on your pilot? Really? Like, and you kind of made Joel kind of a bitch? Really? Why? Like, for those of you who don't understand what I mean, because you're probably like, no, well, Joel does it. Joel, in the video game, the guy who, you remember there's a guy who kind of tortures Tess and whatever? Well, when they catch that guy, they're interrogating him, and Joel just breaks his arm. Like, he just grabs him, like he puts him on the ground, very calmly, puts him on the ground, grabs his arm, and crack. It's one of the weirdest ways I've seen somebody break an arm, but he does it. And you're like, holy, okay, so this is who Joel is. Joel's kind of a son of a bitch, or a survivor, depending on how you want to look at it. So they didn't even do that. I was like, why hasn't Joel broken any arms yet? Anyway, so the point is, I didn't like it, and from everything I've heard afterwards, it doesn't get any better. And again, the issue is no action, no gore. Your HBO survival horror show with zombies and no action? Really? So again, so I stopped watching that. I haven't seen The Mandalorian either. Honestly, that one's not because I haven't cared. It's mostly because I haven't had time. I've been doing a bunch of other stuff. So, like, the first time I went to the movies in a while was to watch John Wick, like, in a very long time. I mean, well, I saw Avatar 2, so that's something. Let me see. TV so far, I started watching You with my girl, the latest season. It's been okay. Like, it's funny. It was I believe this week we actually, we finally got like the furniture ready, we got the TV set up, and so now it's like, all right, it's been months since we just sat down, and watched the show. Months since we've just, sat back and enjoyed a TV show and just, hung out, because we've just been doing stuff or we haven't been here like nonstop. So again, it feels it. People need a routine. Like humans, we need a routine. I really needed one. Like, you have no idea. I've been like my sleeping schedule has been a mess. And again, I was like halfway around the world, different time zones, adjusting back to the year. So I get it, but I'm just happy to be back home. And let's see, Chuck Dominguez. We need blood, guts, and spitting ass everywhere. Yes, we did. HBO, do fucking better. So yeah, I decided I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna keep watching it. What other stuff I have? I'm like, there's just, I don't know. I've been really disappointed with a lot of stuff lately, and I do not understand. Well, I do understand why. The issue is just terrible writing. But you know what? If we're gonna do Dario complains about the state of current franchises. Like, well, let's just get into it a little bit. They announced 3 more Star Wars movies. One I'm actually interested in. I'll be honest. They announced 3. One is with James Mangold. That one I'm interested in. I'll be honest. It's like supposed to be a prequel. And James Mangold, I like his movies. For those of you who don't know who he is, 2 movies that you should know or that you should definitely watch: Ford versus Ferrari and Logan. So the dude knows, like the geek stuff, and he makes legitimately good movies. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. However, not a big fan of Kathleen Kennedy in general, because all the stuff that she's kind of made with Star Wars, if you take away, she's made a few good decisions. First good decision, what is it? Rogue One. Great film. Phenomenal. Really enjoyed it. It's a Star Wars movie that actually feels like a war movie. So, fun there. Bringing back the final season of the Clone Wars, the animated show. Great decision. Phenomenal. Leave Dave Filoni there. Great job. Doing The Mandalorian. I've had issues with it. I've complained about that show a lot, but overall, I'd say it's a good decision. Lately, not so good decisions. Let's see. Well, I haven't seen Andor and I haven't seen Kenobi, but I've heard they sucked. And I honestly, from the lack of memes, I agree. I don't know if you guys know this, but this is kind of like my rule. I don't really watch stuff unless I see memes about it. Why? Because if there's no memes, that means it was irrelevant. So either it was bad or no, actually it was irrelevant. So why waste my time? I got a bunch of stuff to do. So like, why waste my time on something that's not even like hateable? So either it's lovable or hateable, but if there's neither, then what's even the point? Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, the second one, I don't particularly remember, but the third one is going to be a sequel to the latest, to chapter 9, or episode 9. So we're going to continue the story of Rey. Talk about being fucking tone deaf, right? Nobody cares about Rey. Like, nobody. Oh, you know what? I just realized I never actually put, like, the thing here. Listen, you can tell I haven't done this in a while. And actually, I don't need the John Wick thing anymore, but whatever. What was I even saying? Oh, yeah. Nobody cares about Rey. All right? Nobody. I liked Rey fine. I mean, they didn't write her particularly well. But, what a spy thriller, fine. But, I mean, spy thriller during a war movie, it's the closest to a war movie, I guess. But yeah, sure. Spy thriller would be more accurate way of describing Rogue One. What was I even saying? Nobody, like, the biggest critique that Rey always gets is she's a Mary Sue. And so, kind of looking at things of how they went down with the Star Wars franchise under Kathleen Kennedy is they made episode 7, which was basically a remake of episode 4. So it's like, all right, maybe you're setting the board. Like, I don't know if it's Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know if it's if it was, what was his name? What's the dude from Lost? I forget his name. It's kind of a big name director. J.J. Abrams. So maybe it was J.J. Abrams. I don't know. But the point is, somebody did not take a risk there at all. Then you got episode 8, which is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. They just completely destroyed the franchise. Completely. Totally. Like, they had to bring J.J. Abrams back to maybe try to kind of save it, but it didn't really work out. And I saw an interview with Kathleen Kennedy. Again, that's the head of all the Star Wars stuff. And I remember her saying like something like, well, I don't understand why people say that we're not being original. This is after episode 7. Like, you know, every single planet that we've gone to is a planet that we've never been to before. So everything we're seeing is new. And I was like, that's your fucking problem. Right there. You think that is new. You're doing the exact same thing, but just because you painted it a different color, you think it's new. And just because you painted a different color, you think it's yours. Nuh-uh. Nope. No good. The problem here is that you don't understand the franchise. You don't understand the fan base. You don't understand a lot of things. And Star Wars is pretty interesting because it has a lot of very different fan bases. You got the old school ones who love the original trilogy. Then you got more of the modern ones who prefer the prequels. You know why? They're fun in their own different way, but they're very different. You can't say that the prequels and the original are anything alike. They just have, you know, they exist in the same universe, but they have a completely different feel, completely different vibe, completely different everything. And they both have very interesting critiques. In fact, I would argue that the prequels have a very much more interesting critique in general. But, you know, they're made with too much CGI, I guess. I don't know, way less heart. So different vibes. But again, different franchises. So it's like for the older ones, for the newer one, for let's say the millennials, and then you try to get the newest, the kids. And I think it's just failed in general because your core audience is the older crowd. Like for The Mandalorian, it's mostly older people. It's mostly people my age and older who enjoy the show and who like loved it. And again, I had issues with it, but I have issues with everything. I was like, hi, my name is Dario. I complain about stuff. But it's like, why are you trying to make this a show for little kids when the people who love it are the adults? Stop trying to make stuff for little kids. That's the first issue. The second is that they've, in general, hired some of the worst writers ever. And I think in general, I've mentioned this before, we're living in a time where we got the worst fucking writers getting hired for the biggest jobs out there. And why? Because I think we're living in a time where writers think that because they went to college to study literature, that makes them a writer. No. Writers write. And writers write, well, good writers write good things. Now, just because you write a lot doesn't mean you're a good writer. It doesn't. And just because you went to college doesn't mean you're a good writer. It just means that you spent a lot of money on something and you probably, were high the whole time. So that doesn't mean that your ideas are new or original or better or anything. And if you allow your bosses to tell you what to do in the creative process, it's usually not going to end well. Like, I'll give you the perfect example. Sticking with The Mandalorian. Let me just see here. Chuck Dominguez. I like the Mando because they use that much CDI. I mean, yeah, it was, again, John Favreau. But I also read an article that John Favreau has issues with Kathleen Kennedy, and he's told her, like, hey, buzz off my show or I'm walking, which, good for him. Like, it sucks that you have to walk off your own show, but, good for you if you're, like, leaving your line, marking the line on the sand. What was I even saying? I'll give you a perfect example. So, the creators of The Mandalorian made the correct decision at the end of, I believe it was season 2, to make to make Grogu leave with Luke Skywalker. That was the correct decision. And it made sense within the context of the show. It made everything work. and it opened up the character for the character of Mando to explore other stuff. It felt like the proper evolution for the character for the show at that time. Then the Book of Boba Fett came in and they retconned the end of the second season. All of a sudden, the kid decided to come back, and he abandoned Luke Skywalker and he came back. So it was one of those, are you fucking kidding me? So you kind of killed the ending of season 2. Like, the kid could have come back, you just leave him out a season or something. And now I haven't seen it, but I can almost be sure that the kid has way more powers now, and he's like, the child is way more useful. I'm hoping that he's less of a prop now, because now he has powers and he knows how to use stuff, but I'm assuming he's still not that big of a character. He's just like a convenient plot mechanism. Again, haven't seen the newest season, I'm just guessing. So it's one of those things, like, seriously? And I know why you did it. We all know why you did it. It's for the money. You thought, we can't get Grogu off the show. We were selling so much merchandise with him. We have to bring him back. You could have brought him back later. You could have, make us miss him. Make us miss him. Or give him his own fucking show. Who gives a fuck? What are you doing? What are you doing? And it's all because Disney's been losing a bunch of money, let's be honest. This is the importance of having, creators who don't give a fuck. And perfect example, we got John Wick here. The director wasn't going to make a movie he didn't want to make. He was like, Keanu Reeves was like, fuck you, I don't need the money. I'm doing stuff because I think it's good, and because it's a franchise that I care about, and it's because I think that this is actually going to be something worthy of watching in a movie theater. Which it was. Honestly, it's been a while since I've seen, let's say a consecutive flow of movies that I'm like, I gotta see those in the movie theaters. Now, maybe that's gonna be because of streaming and stuff, but I don't know what the hell. But it's been a minute since we've had like a consecutive flow of movies that now I'm like, I gotta watch them in the movie theaters. I can't wait. And John Wick was one of them. Like, I gotta watch them in the movie theaters. Avatar 2 was also one of those. Like, I have to watch it in a movie theater. Now, Super Mario, I have to watch it in a movie theater. Suzune, I gotta watch it in a movie theater. So it's been a while. It's been a minute. I'm happy that it's coming back. And again, it's a creator who's like, fuck you. I'm not doing something that's not on my level. And I'm not just gonna hand this off to somebody else. This is my franchise. All right? I control this. And I'm not going to put subpar stunts in there. We're going to bring this up to the next level. We're going to make it even better, bigger, better, stronger, all that stuff. So other creators don't do that. And again, they just hire whoever they find off the fucking street. And they're like, ooh, this is going to be successful. But they do not. They either don't understand their fan base or they hate us. They hate us. They're like, fuck you. We don't want you. You're old. You're stupid. We want like the new, the fresh, the cool kids. But as I've said it before, kids don't have money. All right? Kids do not have money. They will not buy your stuff. They won't care. Well, I mean, they probably will care. But if I decide that there's going to be no Disney Plus in my house, there's nothing the kids can do about it because they don't have any money. If they want to buy a Grogu figurine, they can't because they don't have any money. It's the grown-ups who buy them for them. And so this is a show, this is a franchise for grown-ups. You know how I know that it's a franchise for grown-ups? It's got the word war in it. Usually you don't want kids to be dealing with war stuff. At least not little kids. Maybe like, I don't know. Well, actually, I don't know about kids. Maybe, 7 or 8? I don't know. Is that it? But they still, at that point, they probably enjoy other, more kiddie stuff, simpler stuff. War's kind of complicated. So you don't really want to sit your kids in front of that stuff. I guess there was like an animated Star Wars show with the Jedi. I guess that's a little bit different. A little bit. But I don't know. Whatever. Point is, I've been all over the place. Because again, I haven't done this in a while. It feels nice to get stuff off my chest. I haven't complained about stuff in so long. God, I've been lonely. I'm gonna do a whole podcast just as, you know, like Keanu Reeves. I'll do like an Ask Me Anything. I'll just be like, yeah. Okay. Good. All right. And you know what? You know what sucks? That's actually really great acting. Like, Keanu Reeves is actually a phenomenal actor, and people won't appreciate it, but well, I mean, they do, but let's say the artists won't appreciate it, but he's letting the movie be, and he's playing a character who's just fucking exhausted and tired of this shit perfectly. He's personifying it perfectly. And there's some scenes where I'm like, I look at Keanu Reeves run and I'm like, dude, he doesn't have it anymore. He's getting up there in age. But it's all acting. Like, you actually see him when he's running up the stairs, and you're like, holy shit, he was faking it the whole time, man. He's that good of an actor. So, I mean, unless he's doing a Dracula movie and he has to make a fake British accent, Keanu Reeves he's pretty good. So again, bring it all back to John Wick 4. Fun, enjoyable experience and a fun, enjoyable franchise who knows what the fuck it's doing. It's for grown-ups. It doesn't try to be not for grown-ups. It doesn't pull any punches. It's ridiculous, but it's awesome, and it's got a kick-ass nunchuck fight that might be my favorite fight in the entire fucking franchise. I highly recommend it. So, there you go. That's my 2 cents, and I'll leave it at that. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World and at DariusDW on Instagram. When am I gonna do this next? Like I said, next week I'll do for sure the Suzume one with Eric. I might do the Super Mario one on Monday if I can. So Taco Tuesday I will try to load the other one. And like I said, I want Eric to come in here so that we can actually break down what happened in Japan and all that stuff. So we'll see how it goes. For now, I did this one, got it out of my system. Happy for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, sorry for kind of all the fuck ups. It was kind of a mess. Not gonna lie. Not putting up the images, not doing everything. Like, I'm not even doing like the right. I'm a mess. But got a studio. Things are working out. Things looking good. So as always, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.